I have plenty questions.
A very powerful point in time to us.
Why you choose Leadtech?
We trained our model is how to evaluate the data again. Nobody can really guess what exactly will happen, but
how do you decide when it's worthy to add AI to a process? What will be our main skill as human?
Your professor will no longer be a person, it's more like an LLM.
Gemini. Green AI? Future? Hello everyone, we are here at Leadtech office, and today we are asking deep questions to understand how the tech world gets developed. In today's episode, we are joined by Ahmed, our AI director. Ben is also a former Googler. He combines very well the ethics, sustainability, and technical issues around AI. Join us because this is a conversation worth having. Hi Ben, how are you?
Good, thank you very much. Good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this new edition of these tech chats. So, I really want to know why you choose Leadtech, because I know you have like a very interesting journey in the tech industry and you come from a very big tech company. So it's quite a big change, like a switch in a personal and professional level. So why you choose Leadtech?
It's a good question. The main reason for me is to build a team that can ship impactful products. That's the main reason why I joined. Don't always get a chance to do that from beginning. You can work in a company and be an engineer or do this or that, but to build a team and also to manage how that team ships products at scale with impact, that's why. That's the biggest part.
Yeah, so I guess your purpose drove you here. And if you can make a resume in only one sentence of what you are currently doing every day here, what will it be?
At the moment, just building that team and shipping products are impactful for now within Leadtech. That's as much as I can say.
Okay, we keep up there. And when you speak about this team, I guess you have an idea in your mind of what kind of conversation about AI you want this team to have, which kind of practices you want them to implement in their daily basics. So which will those conversation and practices be?
Sure. That's be a time when we collect data to feed into our AI models. So making sure we have balanced data, we have equal parts the right data, not too much of one thing, and not too less of one thing. If you have that, you have core data imbalance, and that affects the quality of the model. So we want to have a balanced data set. That's the most important thing for any model. Computer vision, NLP, that's the most important thing. So that'd be a third discussion we had with our engineers in the lab. Is this? Yeah.
So this is kind of a technical skill, but I'm wondering what soft skill you need, or you try to find your team to create this balance.
Good question. The biggest skill would be to have a bit of empathy from an engineering perspective. So knowing how to be empathetic and how to get the right data and digging deeper into that data to solve the right problem. So that's the most important thing. And in any engineering field, nobody knows everything. So having to listen to other engineers, how would they solve the problem, or asking them how would they solve that problem. So having a safe space to ask if you don't know, that's the most important thing.
I really can find a connection between what you say last about talking with each other and this vision that you have and that moves you here about building this kind of team, Yeah, makes sense to me. And in every day, I know that AI is a very polemic topic right now, that companies are trying to involve it in all the processes. But how do you decide when it's worthy to add AI to a process or not in a business?
That's a very good question. The main thing you have to think about is if I was to implement AI in a solution tomorrow morning, okay, business, 3-4 questions. First question, how many people does this affect? As far as, does it make 3, 4, 5 people more optimized, more productive? Or does it make 200 people more optimized and productive? So what scale would this AI automation do? Does it make someone effective? The bigger effectiveness, the bigger impact. Also, there's also a financial aspect as well.
Of course.
Right? So you're more productive, get a bigger ROI, a return on investment, that's AI tool. Right? So look at the numbers. How does it affect the numbers of the business to make this more productive for a tool? But also, does it free up more space for other people to do other things? Right? So look at the numbers. Who does it affect first? And also the impact. That's how you evaluate.
I like the last question, because instead of thinking about what people will lose, it focuses you on what people will gain.
Yes.
Right? Like new opportunities abroad.
Yes. You don't want to spend the whole day, doing Excel macros or something, running through Excel spreadsheets. You can do it quicker instead of using an automation, and use that time for more analysis, for example, things like this.
That's great.
In a very simple way. Yeah.
And when you mentioned about empathy and the importance of that balance, that I instantly thought, like, is this related with ethics in AI? That is a very polemic topic too. So I bring 2 quotes of important women leading the AI ethics, and I want to read them to you and ask you about your opinion. So one of them is Tini Biebru. She say, you can fix a system with AI if the data feeding it's already broken. This is related with what you said. And then Margaret Mitchell said, we need AI models to be auditable, not just powerful. Yes. I find this is amazing. So in your view, which part of the AI development should be having more scrutiny, like ethic scrutiny?
Very good question. From an engineering perspective, the most important part will be the training of the model. So the model will give you what is being given. Bad data in is bad data out. So we train that model is how to evaluate the data again. So there's a technique we use in AI called upsampling and downsampling. Upsampling, you create more things to give it more of a balance, right? We create more copies. The other way, we downsample. We create less copies. However, what do you think happens if I upsample the same thing again and again and again and again? If I create more copies of the same thing, this creates bias.
Yeah, because it's settled as a reality, right?
Exactly. So we got to make sure we don't create too much copies of the same thing. Because you have one representation of one thing. Too many types. So that's a constant shift you have to do. And there's different ways of doing it. Different companies are trying to create different ways of balancing. But this is the biggest important thing.
You made me think about Nietzsche.
Yes.
It's a philosophy, and he said something like, the truth is the best lie, or a lie that settles.
That settles.
It's very powerful. It's a very good quote. Okay, and talking about bias, to avoid them, you think the technical team itself can avoid bias, or you will invite someone else or some different profile to the table?
You have to have a different profile on that discussion. An engineer can't always evaluate his own work. It's not the best scenario. So you have to have an independent outside representative, team, committee to evaluate that data. And there's a few that are already doing this already. Not publicly, but the best way is to have independent external team to say, this is fair, unbiased, or biased and unfair. Okay. But having an internal company doing it yourself, it doesn't give, it goes against the ethos of the company. It's a contradiction force. It's a conflict of interest in many ways. And so having independent bodies outside of that team is the best way forward.
Yeah, it's like more objective perspective, or without so many concerns and interests inside it.
Yeah, there's no urgency to go one way or give one answer. There's no conflict of interest, So that's why it's very important. Yeah.
And talking about the impact of AI, can we think about green AI or
That's a very, very difficult question, I think, about green AI. Yeah, because fundamentally, at this moment in time, there's a big arms race to build and scale AI. Would that scaling has a negative effect, which is also that we build more data centers, more GPUs, more environmental impact is also increases. So at the moment, I don't think we as a society are really focused on that, sadly, because there's a big scaling competition, Meta, Google, a few others. So at the moment, sadly not, to be very honest and frank. But there are companies who are trying to create data centers which run with less environmental impact. But at this moment, it's just pure as a pure arms race, you could say, to get to a certain point. Yeah.
Yeah, the difference is too much, right?
Yeah. And we hope that there are companies that are trying to mitigate this. Some companies have environmentally conscious data centers, but not everyone does yet.
Yeah, I know. I hope we don't realize it too late, because sometimes we are like concerned about the future impact of AI, and there are some authors already saying like we are not looking for the problems and the impact that we have nowadays.
Right. And because we're not looking, that can affect us in X amount of years from now.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Okay, let's keep ourselves like hopefully that this will maybe, I don't know what you think, but maybe bring new opportunities for new kind of enterprise, new kind of activities, new kind of roles, right?
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that I think most scientists in AI and also the guy are trying to solve. How do you make data centers less resource boundary and less environmentally impactful? So try and find a balance there. Once that problem's solved, that's a very big problem to solve. But there are companies doing that in Europe, trying to solve that problem. Yeah.
Okay, and talking about this present and the future, which is the best future you can imagine for the next 5 years in AI, and which will be like a very important technical role, or how should technical teams behave to get like a really good future with less impact or with a positive impact to everyone?
Yes. So I would say, looking where we are now, and when I joined and started working in AI ML especially, that was 7 years ago. Okay. I would study something for a long period of time, then try and build it. Okay. And that building time will take maybe 6 months. Right? Now we're at a point where, yes, you can study something, but your professor will no longer be a person. It's more like an LLM.
When
Okay? And time you take to build something, it's not months, it's 2 days or hours in some cases. So the focus should be on how do I bring this idea to value? The tool is the tool. So a software engineer, that role will change a lot, to be honest. But the value will be, how do I make this thing that I'm making affect these people and they care about it? So more about the human element. What do they want? What do they need? What are they interested in? Does it solve a problem? It doesn't solve a problem, no one's going to use it. So that's the most important skill. And I think that is what people will try and understand going forward, is how to build something that people care about enough. Not everything, just small things, everyday things. That's the most important skill. That would be the biggest challenge. And so in 5 years, what I see is very hard to predict, but I always say we will all have a small oracle of knowledge in our pockets. We do already, but we just talk to it more rather than type to it. We talk to it, we ask advice, we ask what we want to do, our passions, our fears, our therapist, our friend. That could be the case in 5 years' time.
I have to confess that listening to your answer, I have plenty questions going up in my mind, like what will be our main skill as human?
Yeah.
And how we will keep this exercise of decision making with a critical mindset.
It's a very good question. Think about how we're taught to learn. We're taught to learn by getting information from here and information from here. Then we have the reasoning. We reason and think, from this information and this information, I've come to my conclusion. At the moment, we use reasoning at the moment, but now we're giving that reasoning responsibility to an AI model. Okay? So we have to focus on reasoning, objective reasoning, more in education. That's the most important thing. How do I come to my conclusion? On my own, without any external influence. That's the most important thing. So I think that's should be focused in teaching. And I think also as jobs, as you said, for roles, that will change. We finding things that we need to solve, basically, that are banned for. That's the best way to see what's going to happen. I mean, it's very much an unknown point in time.
Exactly.
Nobody can really guess exactly what will happen, but this could be a very powerful point in time for us. Yes.
Okay, so I have this question. There's an ongoing debate, and are today's LLMs a transitional step or a dead end? And I think about this because I heard Lacan talking about this idea of teaching AI how to understand the world. And Wai Hinton, who has recently won a Nobel award, he argues we need a completely new architecture. So, from your perspective, of course, what's the next real leap forward we should be aiming for?
Very good question. I would say it's a mix of both. Reason why? A new architecture is important. We think of our brain, how our brain works.
Yes.
Make connections from different thoughts, and we come to a stage of thinking from different connections and experiences, right? And Jeffrey Hinton created what's now known as a neural network in AI. The challenge, the limitation of an LLM, a large language model, like now, is that it will predict to you and tell you the next word it thinks is correct. Our brains don't necessarily work for like that. So it'll tell you what it thinks is correct on the next response. And that is not really how we work as people mentally, as well as our brains. So to going back to your question, it will be a new architecture, which I can describe, which is very fluid, very connects in different layers and different parts. It doesn't have an A to B connection. It connects and is always changing for different thought patterns and different ways of thinking. How we build that, I don't know. But that's the closest we have to our neuron systems in our minds, in our brains, to say. So that's the most important thing, I think, is that we need to look at the new architecture, but also realize that we can use language from LLMs as one aspect, but not as AI or AGI in a sense. Yeah.
Okay. And with this new model architecture that we think should be built, shall we add this ethic like scale or this ethic criteria? Because when we think, when our brain thinks, we have values too that interfere in the thinking.
Yes.
The process of thinking.
Absolutely. So when you make a choice, you think, is it A or B? You know, that's very true. So we have to, break in or bake in the ethics into the way of thinking as well. You know, in that sense, it's very important. But also, when we do things, when we think, when we come to a point of information, we gather language, sight, sound, everything else. Right now, we're just using language.
Exactly.
We're not using our sight, we're not using our experience, we're not using our touch. That's also intelligence.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of explanation, like non-verbal languages.
Non-verbal languages. Right now, we're in this small verbal aspect, which is a large language model.
Yeah, and I guess it's more probably to have bias in this kind of structure that having on count the rest of the information that it's all over our space, right?
Absolutely, because we're missing out on the sight, touch, everything else. Language is also subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Say one thing in one language means something else in different language. So this is where the bias can be quite high. So it's a small part, or maybe 4 or 3 things we to do. To go back to your question, that's why it is a bit of both. Right now, language is great, but that's one thing. Sight, sound, speech, touch, that's also part of intelligence.
Yeah.
Something biological, right? Which you're trying to create into a model. Yeah, there's
hard work ahead.
a lot of hard work ahead. And a lot of research from other engineers, researchers who I'm sure are doing this or trying to do this right now.
In one word, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say Gemini?
Knowing where I used to work, the first word I would say ubiquitous. It's everywhere. Everywhere. That's the first word.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Perfect. Open source?
How about that? Maybe.
Okay.
So
maybe.
everywhere is what I would say. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere is the first word. Yeah.
Green AI?
Hopefully. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Possible. Yes. Definitely possible.
I like possible.
Yeah. I like possible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Future?
Future? Unknown yet. But hopeful.
Hopeful too.
Yeah.
Okay. And if I had to make her this or that, coffee or tea?
Oh, tea for sure. I'm from UK.
Probably you are the only one at the office who will answer that.
No. Because what tea? That's a big. Which tea?
Which tea?
It's like spy.
Okay, why tea? And sea or mountain?
Oh, sea?
Sea?
Yeah.
I thought you like to camping.
I do as well, but that's also sometimes just to lie and just watch like the ocean. But I'm a camping person, so sea and I want to say both.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay, this and that.
Depends on the day, but yeah, camping person for sure. So yes.
Okay, that's all. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoy the content, you can share it with someone who is thinking about building AI with purpose.